How's it going, everyone? Welcome back to the Blue Shifting, and welcome back to Higurashi When They Cry, Chapter 3. So, yeah, been away for a while. I had a wonderful vacation. It was absolutely just an amazing trip. Got to see a lot of family I haven't seen in a long time. Got to do a lot of activities I haven't done in a long time, and a few new ones, too. We kind of went all out for this, but to be fair, we haven't done a true vacation for probably 5+ years. I think the last big vacation I went on was the total eclipse that hit the United States in 2016. Not the most recent one, but the 2016 one. The path of totality went right through my hometown where I grew up, and so we drove like a few like a thousand miles to get there and to go see that eclipse. But it was beautiful and worth it. But that was like the last major vacation I've done, and the last time I've seen a lot of family out that way too. So this was a real treat for us to be able to go out and just do that. So yeah, it was definitely worth it. I do know that it's a long time to be away from a YouTube channel, and trust me, the analytics show YouTube doesn't like it when you take a break, but I feel like the instant I become so obsessed with that algorithm, I don't do things for myself, is the point where I stop being a human and start just being a slave to, like, the grind. And that's never going to be the case. Even if I were to make a full-time living doing YouTube, I still would make time for myself, even if it had a negative effect on the channel, because that's like any job, right? Like, if you have a job and you don't take a vacation because you think it'll reflect poorly on yourself or your ability to, like, you know, get promotions or whatnot, then what's the point? Like, you should be allowed to take time off and do stuff. So, yeah, it was good. It was fun. We're back. I'm also gonna be tired because, yeah, flipping between sleep schedules is not an easy thing. So I'm trying to work on that, and that's kind of what today's gonna be. It's gonna be focusing on, you know, staying awake in the night and falling asleep during the day so that I'm ready to go back to work. So yeah, that'll be fun. Anyway, let's get right started. So last time we were here, it's been a bit. Satako and and Keiichi have been able to do some really interesting bonding where he's kind of become her pseudo brother, and this is kind of like the formalization of that idea of where he's kind of becoming her Nini, her brother, for a little bit. And it's like, if it could just stay like that, it'd be great. But I was talking about, and I have concerns that when you replace somebody in your heart with somebody else, even if things go well, there's a lot of negativity and bad, like, effects that I feel like it could have. I worry that she's going to become hyper dependent on us and now have expectations of us that might not be realistic. I think that if Satoshi were to return suddenly, which is kind of what I'm guessing is going to happen, that could really mess with the system and set up a lot. And then, of course, some kind of horror is going to happen. So some kind of way it's going to go down, and the curse or like whatever's going on is going to affect Satako somehow, and that's going to be uncomfortable is probably the word. Very uncomfortable. So anyway, I've rambled for a while now. I figure it's worth it because I'm just getting back, but let's get started, shall we? All right, what are we going to get into today? Because we should still be in the happy-go-lucky part of the story where things are just going to run smoothly, right?
Oh, そうなんだ。ケイちゃんの親帰ってきたんだね。
Right, that's the other thing that's going to change. Because our parents came home, the assumption was that we weren't going to need Satako anymore, but we effectively said, hey, I still want to do stuff, which is good. Because, like, parents coming home doesn't have to end what we've got going on.
栄養剤臭がプンプンして目は充血してて
Dang.
どうも丸二晩徹夜で相当の修羅場だったらしい
Oh, that sounds horrible.
大人は大変だ
Yeah, we do.
ケイチ君のお父さんって画家さんだったかな。画家さんも大変なんだね。そういえばそうでしたわね。一度どんな絵を描くか拝見したいものですわ。
It's true. Have we ever even seen one of his artworks? Like, we just know he's an artist. An artist, huh? I'd seen a number of watercolor and acrylic paintings on display, but he had to be doing some other job too. Just what did Dad do exactly? I like how now we're asking this question. He didn't let anyone into his workshop after all. I wanted to sneak a peek at one day.
結局家を開けたのは2晩短い攻略期間だったね。
Okay.
で、ケイちゃんは異中のキャラを攻略できたのかな？
The character was in your heart? What?
両親不在はギャルゲー主人公の基本だしね。
Oh. Alright, game, calling us out, huh?
好感度をいっぱい稼いでちゃんとフラグが立ちましたですよ。
Rico, what are you talking about? If you're implying that there's an actual thing going on between us and Satako, that's just weird. I have no idea what any of you are talking about. Oh, do you? Wait. So, didn't have much time. Got to the characters in your heart. Oh. Okay. So, Mion's playing the role, like joking that for 2 days at the parents' house, he could have made a mood and have a house all to himself to bring a girlfriend home. Like she's talking in game terms, but she's meaning like a real like bring a girl home, and she's wondering who it was. And Rika is playing into that, but I don't think it's quite like the implication there is weird. I don't like it. But I also kind of get it. Also, were eroge and choice-based games a thing in the 80s? Like, I thought that the 80s was kind of like the surge of anime and manga in Japan. Like, it took a while for it to actually like become mainstream in Japan, but the 80s is kind of where it all kind of became more of an industry rather than like a micro genre. But again, I'm not that familiar with anime history. And I would assume the visual novels and choice-based games like eroges would kind of rise along the side because visual novels have always seemed anime and manga adjacent. That they were kind of grouped together. But am I wrong about that? In fact, you know what? Now that I think about it, maybe I should do some research and try and figure out what are some of the earliest visual novels ever to be made. That would be an interesting series to do a bit on, right? Like, what if we could find a way to get our hands on some of the earliest games? Not just like earliest popular visual novels. I'm not even like the first visual novels, and see what they're like. That could be really interesting. I think about that. I remind me of that. I should do research on that, and maybe we can make a series of it. That would be a really interesting, because I love the historical stuff. I like to learn about these things, and so that would be a really fun. Fun thing to explore in the future. Like, what's the first visual novel that we can get our hands on? Because I imagine there's a lot that maybe existed, but were so like indie that there's literally no copies that exist anymore. But it'd also be fascinating, interesting. Anyway.
じゃあこれでケイチくんももう自炊しなくてもよくなっちゃったんだね。ゆうべは何を作ったのかな？
In the end, I didn't make a single thing myself.
ゆうべは野菜炒めを。
おお、ケイちゃんも少しは料理らしいものを作れるようになったじゃない。
野菜炒めを作ったんだね。美味しくできたかな？レナさん、暑苦しいですわよ。なんで私にベタベタくっつきますの？
Because they know.
美味しいご飯に仲良くお皿を洗いっこなのです。
Well, you're just saying it out loud now.
いいの。暑苦しいと言ってますのよ。
It's like, I don't like what you're talking about. Or implying.
何の話？
Mion, utterly confused, asked me for clarification, but I just barely, albeit transparently, averted my eyes.
そうそう。みんなさ、今日の午後に予定はあるかい？
I'm glad that Mion could read the room quickly.
ないよね。あるわけないよね。
Today was Saturday, the beautiful day on which we were liberated from the confines of the school in the afternoon. Actually, the schools in Hinamizawa had slightly different Saturdays than those in the city. There were a lot of students here who brought a bento, ate it at lunch, and then went to play in the school or around the schoolyard. You could say that was the entire school turned into a children's playground. That's one thing that's so interesting to me about Japan, too. They have 6-day school days, right? Like, isn't the typical, like, 5 full school days, and then Saturdays are like a half day. But that's just crazy. That just seems like so much work for kids. Like, giving them 2 days off feels like good. There were mountains behind the school, and if you went down that way, you'd find a mountain streams. You could avoid the strong sunlight and make conversation in the classroom if you wanted to. You could also play hide and seek in the construction pipes. Of course, you were free to go home as well. There were some kids who went home and helped water the fields or tended the stores. If Mion was bringing up the afternoon like this, then it must have been for some crazy big club event. However, sadly, I had something I needed to do before taking part in whatever it was.
お仕事ですか？ついてないのです。何の仕事でございましょうね。お父さんの画家の仕事のお手伝いとか。お父さんの絵のモデルになるとか？
That'd be interesting.
モデル？ヌード？
Oh gosh, no! Rena, no. Wow. This is the most... She's always come across, or at least tried to come across, as really innocent and naive-minded. Even when people make dirty jokes, she kind of lets it go over her head. Whether that's intentional or not is the question. But this is the first time I think that she's like full-on just gone goblin mode. Like, just... No, Rena, wow. I looked into Rena's eyes and saw myself completely naked in a questionable pose with a single rose in my mouth.
ないない。それだけは100万積まれても絶対にない。
To get rid of Rena's delusion, I grabbed her and swung her from side to side.
とまあ愉快な妄想は置いといてだ。とにかく俺にはちょっとお昼に仕事がある。それが終わってからの合流でいいなら OK だぞ。
お昼に仕事？おー、そりゃなんだかかっこよさげじゃない。何？ひょっとして各界の VIP との会食？ビジネスランチとか。
Oh, okay.
実に悲しいことだが。
Oh, wait.
正解だ。
I don't remember what this is. So, am I going crazy, or did I just, or is this just it hasn't brought this up yet? Everyone shouts wildly, surprised. It was true. Today I'll be on the job with my family. For my dad's job, he was having about 10 people from the publishing agency over for a house party. He called people from work for a party the day after having stayed 2 nights in a row. I'm amazed at their vitality. Adults have it pretty rough. Yeah. Of course, it would be incredibly uncomfortable for me. It would be really tiring not to force myself to smile at some old dudes I didn't know. But they were my dad's important business connections, so I offered them offending them would be bad. Don't know why I was stumbling on that. Well, with all that said, it was going to get very uncomfortable for me today, starting at lunch.
これは利発そうなお子さんで。
具足の圭一です。圭一、こちらは出版社の本田さんだ。そしてこちらは印刷会社の井上さん。ご挨拶しなさい。
どうも、息子の圭一です。父がいつもお世話になっております。
圭一くんもお父さんのように絵は描かれるのですか？圭一くんの絵もぜひ拝見したいな。
My dad has such a brazen occupation, that of an artist. Although I didn't really know what kinds of things he created. I don't really care. I don't want to see anyway. So Dad's so tight-fisted about it, so he doesn't show them to me very often anyway. I'm not a kid anymore, so I wouldn't care at all if they were pictures of naked ladies or anything.
圭一くんもお父さんに指示してしっかり勉強すれば、きっとお父さんのような素晴らしい作家になれますからね。
ここだけの話ですけど、親父ってそんなにすごい画家なんですか？
I readied myself and whispered my question. It might have seemed odd for his son to be asking this, but when I did, he gave me this really strange grin and tightly clamped down onto my shoulders. Do you see the weird way it loaded those words? He gave me this really strange grin
ええ、それはもう本当に素晴らしい作家さんなんですよ。
そうですか。それは良かったです。
購入制限はないし、フ
Uh,
ァンサービスはするし、
what?
ファンレターには必ずお返事をくれるし、
He does fan service. Fan service of what?
世間のニーズもちゃんと汲み取っていて研究熱心。
Okay, so maybe he's not too far off about like making like risque pictures.
靴下は脱がしたら絶対に NG。
What?
それはメガネや制服だって同じなんですよ。
What?
そこを前原先生はよく理解して
Oh
いる。
no, he is making perverted start. Oh no. Fan service? Inquisitive mind, always on the proper world's needs. Taking off your socks? Absolutely not. That goes for glasses and school uniforms too.
イベントは参加ごとに必ず壁で大行列だし。
すみません。絵ってのは壁に飾るものじゃないんですか？
そんなことはない。初めは誰もが島中から始めるんです。
Everyone starts in the islands.
そして島角、大通りの島角と階段を登って。
What is this talk? Well, what? I feel like there's a whole language here that's like that makes no sense. Starts in the islands, goes to the corners, finally climbing from the up to the corners of the larger paths.
そして至る頂点が壁なんです。あなたもぜひ前原先生と合体で出展できるような大作家になってくださいね。
I feel like I'm absolutely missing stuff here. I am so sorry, but I'm lost now.
応援していますよ。
It's fine to have a lot of passion for things you like, but I don't get it. But it seemed like the world of art ran pretty deep. It was probably much deeper than I could have imagined. I decided to leave it at that. Then I realized my mom was calling me from the other side of the room.
ケイチ、電話よ。お友達から。
A lucky break. Maybe I could get out of this uncomfortable business party by using a friend's phone call as an excuse. I scampered over to the front door and snatched up the receiver my mom had left there.
もしもし、俺。
もしもし俺
There she is.
なんて挨拶はございませんですわよ、ケイチさん。もう少し言葉遣いをお勉強なさいませ。
I was of the opinion that the person speaking to me had a far stranger way of talking.
なんだ、サトコじゃねえか。お前が俺のところに電話してくるなんて珍しいな。
のんきなことを言ってる場合ではありませんのよ。それよりもケイチさん、あなたいつになったらこっちに来れますの？
悪い。こっちもなんだか長引いちゃってさ。なかなか解放してもらえないんだよ。俺も早く部活に加わりたいんだけどさ。
違いますですわよ、ケイチさん。今日は部活ではありませんわ。
Oh.
実践ですのよ。
Satoko's voice was different from normal. I could feel the urgency in it drifting through the phone.
実践？なんだか穏やかな話じゃないな。どういう状況なんだ？
詳しくは会ってからの説明にいたしますわ。とにかく絶対的な危機なんですの。
Using lots of strong words.
このままでは負けてしまうでございますわ。
What on earth was going on? Could it have been a fight? I didn't know if they were what they were, but laying a hand on someone from Hinamizawa was an absolutely terrible idea.
おう、わかった。すぐに火星に行くぜ。場所はどこだ？
沖宮小学校のグラウンドですわ。駅まで来れば看板があるからわかりますですわよ。
Oh wow, so they actually are at Okinomiya.
とにかく大急ぎですの。
The school campus. This situation could have a lot of people involved. Could it have turned into an all-out brawl? Who was the enemy here anyway? Oh, I'm on fire.
わかった。すぐ行く。武器も持って行った方がいいか。金属バットでも持っていくか。
金属バットをお持ちですの？それは心強いですわよ。お待ち申し上げておりますですわ。
Your heart cut off abruptly. I need to hurry.
おう、ケイイチ、探したんだぞ。こちらの出口さんがな、ぜひ次のコピー紙で。
It is the Dojinshi.
そんなことよりバットないかな。金属バットなければ長物なら何でもいいや。
長ければ何でもいいな。
Uh-oh.
父さんのゴルフクラブが物置にあるぞ。
I didn't have the same kind of impact, but a golf club was a splendid weapon too. It was lighter than a baseball bat, maybe easier for me to use.
サンキュー。それ借りるよ。俺ちょっと友達のところに行かなきゃならない用事ができちゃったんだ。ごめん。
ケイイチ、待ちなさい。
I grabbed the golf club, jumped on my bike, and headed straight for town. Wait for me, Satako. I'll be right there. Just hold on until then. It's gonna be such a silly, like, it's just gonna be another game. And they're probably playing baseball, which is why they would like gonna bring it back. So he's gonna show up with a golf club, and you're like, why did you rush here with a golf club? Like, that's stupid. Oh, I didn't read that line. I didn't actually know where Okinomiya Elementary was, but Satoko's phone call seemed to demand urgency, so I rushed out without asking her about how to get there. But if I went to the station, there would be signs. At least I feel like that's what she said. Then I heard the jingle of a bicycle bell from behind me.
こんにちはなのですよ。
おう、リカちゃんか。
ケイイチ、早かったです。いっぱい急いだですね。
Darn. This isn't the time to be out of breath. I needed to hurry.
すまん。沖宮小学校ってのはどこだ？
ご案内しますです。
Isn't Rika bad at directions, though?
ついてくるですよ。
Rika-chan rode off on her bike. I followed her.
急に里子に呼び出されたんだが、一体どういうことになってるんだ？
はじめはこちらが優勢だったのです。ところが途中から向こうが助っ人を入れてきたのです。ズルなのです。
A helper? What cowards calling for reinforcements the minute they realized they'd lose?
みんなバッタバッタと打ち取られましたのです。歯が立たないのですよ。
Gulp. Sounds like they were pretty strong.
とにかく詳しい話は後だ。時間がないんだろう。急いでくれ。
お任せなのです。
With Rika-chan leading the way, we headed straight for the elementary school grounds. I asked Rika-chan something during that time. It seemed that all the club members beside me were part of this fight. Darn. So why was Mion trying to tell everyone what was this what would happen? If I had known that, I would have just ditched my family job. But it was too late for regrets. According to Rika-chan, we had one-sided advantage at the start, but our angry foes had brought in a powerful ally. The club members put up resistance and we went against them one by one, but apparently they couldn't stand up to them.
部活メンバー総掛かりで勝てない？一体そりゃどんな化け物なんだ？
すごいのです。敵は正統派なのですよ。
Orthodox? So they weren't using thuggish brawling tactics, but actually had student karate or something. Is that what she meant?
もうケイイチだけが頼みの綱なのですよ。
Okinomiya Elementary came into view. I could hear many voices raising hell over there.
ミヨン、レナ、サトコ、今行くからな。俺がまとめてぶっ潰してやるぜ。
Yeah. There were a lot of bicycles left out in front of the school. I left mine there next to them the same way. I could tell there were a lot of people flooding the campus. Were the two armies in the midst of a huge no-holds-barred brawl? I took my golf club in hand, wished and swung it. I felt the sensation of the sticking firmly to my palm. Great! The feedback wasn't bad. It's gonna go all out with this thing. I dashed at the breakneck speed at the school gate, swinging it around.
ついてこい、リカちゃん。男前原圭一のバンプ不当な大活躍を見せてやるぜ。
わあ、ケイイチがとても頼もしいのです。
I can't wait for the script to flip.
ゴルフクラブで大暴れなのです。
Rika-chan applauded me, though a little dryly, lauding my valiance. The manly Keiichi Maibara put it behind him and headed to the place where he may die.
でもケイイチ、どうして今日はゴルフクラブなのですか？
仕方ないだろ。俺も最初はバットの方がいいと思ったんだが、うちってバットなくってさ、素手よりははるかにマシだと思って、せめてゴルフクラブを持ってきたんだ。
偉いのですよ。ケイイチをなでなでしてあげますです。
Oh no.
ゴルフクラブで大暴れが楽しみなのですよ。
Despite the emergency situation, Rika-chan reached up and stroked me on the head.
おい、ふざけてる場合かよ。え？
Crack! Just then, an extremely loud metallic sound rang out and I heard many people cheering. It is baseball.
レフト。ああ、抜けた。回れ。二塁行けるぞ。二塁。
センター、落ち着いて。三塁へ送って。
The center fielder caught the ball and after a brief pause sent it flying to third base. If he had pitched it wildly, it might get there. He gave up on second and threw it to third with time to spare. The instructions from the bench were solid. Wait, what?
あ、ケイイチくん来てくれたよ。さとこち 遅すぎですわ。油を売るのはガソリンスタンドだけで十分でございますのよ。
Loafing around is only okay when you do it at a bread shop. I like that. I don't know what that's translating from, but that's a pretty cute joke.
その前原君って子は本当に助っ人になれるんですか？
And who are you? You have like a picture. Irie?
相手はあの強豪校のエース左腕の亀田君ですよ。甲子園クラスの投手を打ち崩せるなんて一体どんな助っ人なんです？
Who is this guy?
大丈夫です。圭一くんならきっと逆転させてくれます
I have
よ。
a lot of faith for Mr. Not Very Athletic.
本当に頼もしい人なんです。
Murmur. What? He's the pitcher hitter we brought in to take out left arm Kamada with his bullet fastball? The one who had no hit, no run game after another during the regional qualifiers? He under undefeated demon pitcher of Ushima. The super high school level pitcher that had already been marked by professional scouts. He's gonna win against him?
あんなヘナチョコピッチャーなんか圭一さんには目じゃないですのよ。
This is a very dangerous game you're playing.
あんな球楽勝でバックスクリーンを越してくださいますわ。
Murmur. There was a slugger like that in this prefecture? I had no idea. He must have gone under the radar. Hey, that scout stood up. Hey, take a picture. His full name is Keiichi Maribara. Look at him in the database and send his history to our office.
どれが前原圭一だ？写真。
A whole lot of sports journalists, led by Satako, gripped the camera tightly and searched for the rumored Keiichi Maribara. Well, that's crap. As for me, I was so dazed at what was happening that I froze in place with the golf club in the air.
圭一さん、こっちですわよ。
Camera people stared at me through their viewfinders, and just like that, they turned to stone. In the hands of their gallant pitch hitter, Keiichi Maribara was a golf club. Nobody could see and understand why I was holding something like this. And at this point, neither did I. Cheap. The cold, greasy sweat dripped from me. The first one to break the inordinately awkward silence was Rena.
圭一くん。
おう。
一つ聞いてよろしいですの？
Oh boy. Please don't. Psychic waves of my entreaty flowed out from my face along with my sweat. Somehow seemed to reach the two of them. The deathly quiet reporters all parted as Moses once parted the sea. But Moses probably didn't go through the parted seas this quietly.
野球の試合なら初めからそう言
私言いませんでした？第一バット持ってグラウンドに来いって言ったら野球以外に何を思いつくわけですの？というか何をどう間違ったらゴルフクラブを持ってくるって発想になるわけでございますの？きっとね暗いムードになったチームを明るくして盛り上げようとして圭一くんがわざとやってくれたんだと思うな。
Oh man.
思うな。
Rena smiled bitterly to cover for me with all her might. Please believe her, everyone. I'm begging you.
圭一はゴルフが大好きなのですよ。なでなで。
Rika-chan started petting my head, a broad grin on her face all the while. I pushed her hand away, grabbed her from behind by her super suspenders, and picked her up like a kitten.
え。リカちゃん、なんでさっき駅で会った時野球だって教えてくれなかったんだよ。そうすりゃ赤っ端を書かずに済んだのに。
See, that was the point, idiot. Rika-chan's smile was like the sun, so incredibly innocent. Oh, she's glowing. When I saw Rika-chan's radiant smile, I couldn't help but feel like I could forgive anything she did. However, if Rika-chan thought I actually would, then she had another thing coming.
というわけで、これはお仕置きだ、レナ。
Rika-chan still plucked up in my hand. I offered her to Rena. That's right. The kittenified Rika-chan set Rena's voltages into overcharge. She's gonna kidnap her.
もらった。レナがもらったんだよ。かわいいよ。
Hop, spinny. Rena stuck out her tongue like a chameleon and preyed upon Rika-chan while spinning her around.
リカちゃんかい。
Where'd the ears and tail come from? Okay.
リカちゃんかい。
Oh, wait. Actually, I want to see something here. Oh, okay. So there's no, like, switching of this. I was wondering if there might be different art here. Rena held tightly as a vice and began to get her fill of rubbing her cheek into Rika-chan's. Their cheeks rubbed together tightly. Rika-chan's face, it looked like it was being crushed by Rena's.
何があったかは存じませんけど、リカが自業自得のようですわね。
ああ、俺も最近ようやくリカちゃん。
ケイチ君に許可をもらったんだよ。
Oh no.
お持ち帰り。
For a moment, I just gave her a 3-minute timeout.
ところでサトコ、緊急の呼び出しってのは野球ってことなのか？
ええ、そうですわ。ご家族でホームパーティーだったんですって。悪いことをしましたわね。でもこういう時は家族よりも仲間の危機の方が最優先と決まっていますのよ。
Well, I mean, he certainly wanted to. I feel like that's what you're supposed to be saying, not you. It was just a business party for my dad, I guess. I honestly felt glad to be called out here.
それでその危機的状況というのはどんな具合なんだ？ 6対7ってことは負けてるのがうちのチームってことか。ん？9回の裏で2アウト？
Oh gosh!
なんだなんだ？
Yeah, you literally need a miracle here.
この試合もうほとんど終わりかけてるじゃないかよ。
ケイイチさんがもっと早く来ればもう少し余裕がありましたの
We
よ。
can't control that.
ここまで引き伸ばすのにどれだけ苦労したとお思いですの？
分かったよ悪かったよ。で俺の仕事はなんだ？ピンチヒッターでもやるのか？ならば任せろ。こう見えても俺引っ越す前は結構バッティングセンターに通ってたんだぞ。
Did he really?
親父が憂さ晴らしに行くときよく付き合わされてさ、ミートバッティングだったらそこそこの自信が。
Vroom. A tremendous sound rang out, the likes of which I'd never heard before. The catcher's mitt trembled, sending up a light cloud of dust, telling me that a tremendous sound had come from the ball.
ちょっと待ておい、今の凄まじい剛速球は一体なんだ？
驚いた？うん。あれ本物の甲子園ピッチャーなんだよ。スポ
Oh
ーツ新
no.
聞でも有名な高校野球のエース。
悪いけど知らん。でミリオン、お前なんだよその格好は。
Mion showed up, and to my surprise, he was wrapped up in bandages. It's just what on earth happened.
途中から来たケイイチ君には最初から説明がいるよね。
Uh-oh.
お、なんだリカちゃんはもういいのか？
可愛いのいっぱい楽しいんだよ。ほよほよでやわやわでふにふに。
Okay.
ほっぺだけでご飯3杯はいける。
Okay, calm down, Rena.
み
I can't
ー、もうお嫁に行けないのです。
Rena, what did you do to her? I wonder how Rika-chan's cheeks taste if you could eat them 3 times a day. I almost flipped my own delusion switch if I stopped using logic. I was an adult.
じゃあ説明を頼む。何をどう間違えたらこんな草野球対決に甲子園ピッチャーのリリーフが登場するんだ？
Yeah. Everyone exchanged glances. Then Rena spoke for all of them.
うん、最初はね、普通の野球対決だったの。
hinamizawaファイターズと沖宮タイタンズはささやかながらも因縁の対決でさ、
Right.
今回もささやかに大盛り上がりしてたわけ。
まあ平たく言えば学校対決ですわね。hinamizawaと沖宮の学校の因縁試合なんですの。
And we weren't being told any of this before.
因縁って言ってもまあ和気あいあいとしたものなんだけどね。
Okay, okay.
でそれになんでうちの部活メンバーが参加してるんだ？ユニフォームを着てるやつもいれば私服のやつもいるし、そもそも俺たちって野球部ってわけじゃないだろう。
つまり、割といい加減なの。
今日たまたまチームに欠員が出たって言うんでさ。
So Mion volunteered us to fill in.
それじゃあせっかくだからって言って急遽私たちが乱入することになったってわけよ。
Yeah, figures. I see. So if there weren't enough members, anyone could come to the rescue, whether boy or girl, no matter what grade they were in. That jumbled together feeling was the hallmark of our school.
リカちゃんに聞いた話だと最初のうちは押しまくってたらしいじゃないか。
ミーはすごいバッターなのですよ。
Nice.
右へ左へホームランなのです。
Yeah, I can see Mion being quite effective and efficient with a bat. Mion probably struck out her chest. Doing so seemed to hurt somehow, and she groaned pathetically.
ええ、ミオンさんが登場するたびに走者一掃の大ホームランが飛び出すんですの。
Dang, a consistent hitter, huh?
サトコと違ってちゃんとバットにボールが当たるのですよ。
Sheesh, harsh.
リカミ
まあなんとなく話は分かった。あの甲子園ピッチャーが登場するまでは楽勝ムードだったというわ
What
け
did he
だ。
do? Just like nail her with the ball and knock her out?
そういうこと。序盤は完全にうちのチームの流れでね、点にはならないまでもガンガン出塁して攻めまくってたんだけどね。
たまたまね、今日の試合にあの亀田くんが見物に来てたの。
Right. Apparently, Kamada attends a fairly well-known school in our prefecture that frequently sends people to Keiichi. The man known as the ace of the baseball team, Kamada, seemed to be quite skilled. Now that I thought about it, it was certainly strange to see cameramen with journalist armbands here watching a casual baseball game out in the sticks like this.
亀田は小さい頃沖宮タイタンズにいたことがあるのだそうです。
Gotcha. So he's basically a local celebrity.
話は見えてきたでしょ。昔のチームが劣勢になって、つまりそれで飛び入りでリリーフ登板することになって、
Well, that seems very unfair.
もうバッタよ。出塁はおろか、ファールも打てないありさまなわけ。
でも甲子園ピッチャーの乱入なんて草野球の試合でずるいですわよ。
All the boys wearing Hinamizawa fighter uniforms were hanging their heads in disappointment. I knew almost all their faces. Isn't everyone here a classmate? Oh, I see. We're the only school in Hinamizawa after all.
お、富田君に岡村君じゃないか。君たちも野球チームだったのか。
Aww. His uniform was brand new, not very dirty, fresh off the presses. I could see handmade banners with their names written on them in the grandstands. Aww. I see. Their families came to root for them in their debut game today.
岡村のバットは今日のためにお父さんがプレゼントしてくれたそうなのですよ。
Uh-huh. The brand new bat sparkled. With that kind of present, a man just has to perform well.
いっぱい今日のために素振りとかしてきましたのよ。富田さんなんかやりすぎて手の皮が抜けちゃって、ほら気の毒に。
Aww. Your torn hand looked like it hurt, but from the injury you could sense his backbone. I get it, guys. You wanted to make your big moment a good one. Boom. The savior of the Okinawan Titans could hear the sound of his Kamada-kun's tremendous fastball practice. This was no joke. He was definitely on a level far above the high school kids. But at this level, he clearly shouldn't have been interpreting the grass lot game, grudge match though it may have been. He should have understood how much better he was, too.
あいつ、こいつら相手にも本気で投げやがったのか。
レナはこんなの大人げないと思う。
Yeah. Rena's eyes grew harsh. It took a lot to get Rena mad. After Tomita-kun and Okumura-kun, they were snuffling, fighting back tears. We heard another tremendous noise from the mitt. I turned around and left-armed Kamada-kun's guy was looking at us and grinning boldly.
というわけよ。こうなったらやるしかないでしょ。
Well, you didn't explain how you got hurt, Mion.
実戦態勢で。
ああ、どうやら本気で行くしかないな。
でね、本気で言ってみたの。それでみーちゃんが大自爆して。
Mion, embarrassed, scratched her head and a moment later doubled over in pain.
自爆って一体何をどう自爆したら
That's what I was
そんなに
wondering.
大怪我できるんだ。
That's what I need to know.
説明するととてつもなく長いですわね。一つ言えるのは、ここまでして戦果なしということくらいですわね。
Aw.
ここまで体を張ったのに一点も入れられないなんて。
せっかくの秘策も台無しで、かわいそうなのです。
So the secret strategy actually failed. That's a very unusual circumstance in these games. Usually the smart plan plays out right, but it looks like this is an exception. I couldn't even imagine what sort of secret plan it was. Must have been crazy enough to get her hurt, that badly hurt.
でもまあ失敗したおかげでまだ野球でいられるんだろ。
ちょっとみーちゃんの奥の手は野球らしくなかったと思うか
Oh
な。
gosh, what did she do?
かな。こうなっては仕方ないでございましょう。ここは正々堂々野球らしく決着をつけるしかないということですわ。
そうそう、野球らしく蹴りをつけないとね。
I think normal people would have given up and gone for the frontal attack. But as a member of our club, I wasn't about to accept that so easily.
野球らしくってのが引っかかるぞ。野球らしく見えれば手段は問わないってことだろ。
私たちの部の信条だしね。そういうことですわね。手段を選ばないことこそ我が部の美徳でございましたよ。
Ren and Satako laughed at each other delightfully. It wasn't really a virtue we could brag about, but the best thing about our club was that we never rolled over and gave up.
でもカメラがずらーりといるからなかなかズルはできないのです。
That's true. Rika-chan spread her arms wide, indicating an array of reporters on the bleachers. She was right. With all those cameramen watching us through the cameras with giant telephoto lenses, foul play would be fairly tough.
そうそう、それがネックだったんだよ。これだけの囚人監視があるとなかなか大胆な手が取れないし。いてててててて。
Calm down.
みーちゃんの手は決しておしとやかだとは思わなかったけどな。
Satako and Rika-chan both nodded behind Rena.
じゃあここで本題に戻るぞ。今我がチームは1点差で負けてるんだよな。
しかももう9回の裏でアウトも2個取られちゃってるの。
Basically, whoever goes up to bat either has to win or die.
おじさんの作戦がうまくいってれば今頃は満塁のはずなんだけどな。
失敗した作戦を嘆いても始まりませんですのよ。へこたれず次の手を打ってこそ我が部でございましたよ。
But even then, so we have to get a good hit because that just keeps us in the game. Because then we tie it up. Satako said eagerly, trying to cheer up the downcast Mion, whose secret plan had failed. It may have failed, but Satako seemed to have another one.
サトコがなかなか威勢がいいじゃないか。ってことは何か奥の手があるってことか。
ケイチ君、この子を誰だと思ってるのかな。サトコちゃんだよ。
Yeah, cheater incarnate.
北条サトコちゃん。
That was right. We called her Trap Master Satako, didn't we? She would ensnare her opponent at the perfect moment at the very end. Everyone in our club knew we could never, ever allow our guards down around Satako.
私が仕込んだとはいえ末恐ろしく成長してくれたもんだよ。僅差を制することに関しては私でも舌を巻く時があるね。
ちなみに次の打者がミーでその次の打者がサトコなのです。
We were losing by 1 point, so if we could get the next runner on a base, then the runners after that could hit a big one and end the match. And that final batter was Satako.
ね
Yeah, I see.
勝てそうな気がしてきたでしょ。
どういう仕掛けか想像もつかんが絶対何かの罠だと断言できる。俺が敵のピッチャーなら絶対に敬遠だ。
There was no way Satako was going to hit a home run, even in my dreams. But if she was going to stand in the batter's box normally without any kind of plan, I can't think of anything else she could do.
そのサトコが俺を呼び出した。なるほど、読めてきたぜ。
It meant that I was a necessary piece in Satoko's trap.
ワクワクするね。サトコちゃんどんなことをするのかな。
That's a lot of pressure.
僕もサトコのサヨナラホームランが楽しみなのです。
そのためには ケイちゃんの働きが欠かせない。わかるね。これが逆転の最後のチャンス。絶対に失敗できない。
おう、分かってるぜ、そんなこと。見てろ、俺とサトコででっかい大逆転を拝ませてやるぜ。
Come on.
ではケイチさん、これから手順を説明しますわ。ちょっとお耳を拝借しましたよ。
Satako and I huddled up in a hidden place and held a briefing that anyone watching could tell was suspicious.
前原さんと北条は何を話してるんだろう。委員長みたいにとんでもない奥の手で自爆しないことを祈るよ。
Our teammates Tomita-kun and Okumura-kun seemed very nervous. Rana gave them a wide smile, trying to dispel their anxiety.
大丈夫だよみんな。さとこちゃんとケイチくんならきっとやり遂げてくれるから。
でも龍宮さん、相手は甲子園級のピッチャーなんですよ。いくら北条が得意の罠にはめようとしても。
まあみんな黙って見てなって。面白いゲームが見られるからね。
She cackled like a witch. Mion, who knew everything about to transpire, looked like she was having a hard time stifling a laugh bubbling up from within her. She was pretty terrifying as an enemy, but so reliable as an ally. If that ain't the best summary of Mion I've ever seen. Mion waved her hands at the umpire.
代打が出ます。私、園崎ミオンに代わって前原圭一で。
本当に彼で大丈夫なんですか？
An umpire turned an uneasy gaze from the pitch hitter who jumped in with a golf club.
ケイチくんは甘く見ない方がいいですよ。
The members of our club were the only ones grinning with wholehearted confidence. Wait, that's the end of that? Oh no! Are we just gonna cut away? Satoko's plan was definitely simple, but scrupulous. It even looked like an entire situation had gone according to her calculation. The fact that they were losing by 1 point, the fact that I'd come in late, the fact that Satako was our last batter, it even felt kind of like this had been set up from before the game started. Interesting. There had been a long time out since I got here, and during that time, the opposing pitcher Kamada-kun took a bathroom break. Even that felt calculated. No, this is Satako we're talking about, so maybe she gave him a laxative somehow, calculating to get him to use the bathroom at this exact moment. And while he was a long way off, shut in the bathroom, our plan would begin. The opposing pitcher Kamada-kun, there he was, in front of the urinal, pleasantly taking care of business. What is this? He thought it was only natural that he would win at a grass-locked game like this, and relaxed enough to relieve himself without a care in the world. Maybe that's how he wanted to appear? However, his relaxed state was itself our chance. Right now, you've already conceded to our club. I, too, casually walked into the bathroom. There were 3 urinals. Kamada-kun was doing his business in the farthest one. I went to the one next to him. Oh, that's psychotic right there. Normally, you'd leave one urinal open. Kamada-kun seemed to notice me. I stood right next to him, after all.
なんだ、誰かと思えば大ピンチヒッター様じゃないか。
He recalled seeing me swing the golf club around like an idiot, and he couldn't seem to resist the urge to laugh. I, however, wasn't frustrated in the slightest. The match had already been won the moment I arrived. The game had been decided by a big upset from our team. So now all I had to do was push things along exactly as Satako planned. Ha ha ha. I'm the one who should be laughing.
ケイチくん、うまくやれるかな。大丈夫でしたよ。本気のケイチさんならこんなの朝飯前ですわ。
That's true. Tobita-kun and Okumura-kun, our underclassmen, asked another question with much trepidation.
本当に前原さんはあのピッチャーを攻略できるんですか？
If this is going to be a psychological warfare thing, absolutely.
あんたたち、ケイちゃんと同じクラスで生活してて何にも感じないわけ？彼はね、ゆくゆくはあの力で世界を制するかもしれない。
Oh, really?
ケイちゃんと組めば世界制覇は容易だな。
世界
Our teammates exchanged glances. Did Maibara Senpai really have such incredible strength? Just what kind of strength could that be? My question caused Kamada-kun to stare in bewilderment. For a moment, he didn't know what to say.
悪い。ちょっとよく聞こえなかった。もう一度言ってくれるか？
I smiled thinly, looking straight ahead, and said it once more, clearly.
もう一度だけ言う。俺たちを勝たせろ。
Oh, right. Right to the point. No threats, no beating around the bush or anything. Kamada's brain couldn't figure out the meaning of what I'd said and could clearly tell he was confused.
バカも休み休み。俺たちを勝たせろだ。お前正気か？
俺からの要求は伝えた。返事はどっちだ？イエスかノーか？
そんなの迷うまでもない。誰がお前らを勝たせるもんか。お前の頭は少し変じゃないのか？
Kamada didn't hide his bewilderment. He didn't want to be around someone who would babble on like this for another second. Those thoughts spilled into his expression and he quickly moved to leave the bathroom.
亀田君、君にとって勝利は何だ？
決まってる。尊く絶対的で至上目的だ。それは他の何にも変えられない。
He grinned lightly as he answered as if to make fun of me.
スポーツマンらしい返事だな。勝利こそ絶対。何にも変えられないってわけだ。
そんなのは当たり前だろ。どんな脅しにも買収にも勝利を放棄させるような対価は存在しない。
I was waiting for those words. I, after spinning around 3 times, and 3.5 times, pointed right at Kamada's face.
ならば聞くべきじゃないのか？それほど尊い勝利を放棄させるに値するどんな対価が提供されるのかを。
何よバカなことを。そんなもの存在するわけがない。
Ha ha ha. He was denying it, but he stopped. He stopped. He was waiting. He was waiting for me to present some attractive conditions.
君は雑誌のインタビューに好物は焼肉で嫌いなものは甘いものだと答えたらしいが、それは嘘じゃないのか？
Oh.
何？
He wanted to sound manly.
例えば、君が焼肉食い放題に行ったとする。君が皿に持ってくるのは一体何だ？ロースか？カルビか？牛タンの山か？違うよな。君が持ってくるのは肉じゃない。食い放題のプリンやゼリーやケーキなのだ。
He's a sweets man.
女の子が喜びそうな綺麗で可愛らしくて愛くるしい。
I like how the whole threat here is we're just trying to emasculate his very clearly like isn't confident in his manhood. Because this wouldn't work against someone who's just confident about who they are. I'd be like, yeah, I just like sweets. So, but apparently he really cares what people think of him.
そんな洋菓子が大好きなんだよな。
Kamada's face turned utterly pale. Our club already knew that he ate a mountain of dessert when he went to the grilled meat buffet, and we were well aware of his embarrassment at the weakness for sweets despite his age. Kamada-kun couldn't possibly have known the particular grilled meat buffet chain in Shishibone was owned by a member of the Sonozaki family. It's like, it's actually playing out like a small, like, symbolic thing of like how you put pressure on political figures, catching them off guard. You know, or maybe get like dirt on people who go to a particular island who are invited by a very influential person, and then they get evidence of them doing things that aren't very savory as a way of pressuring them into doing what you want. And then when such evidence is about to come to light, terrifying them into trying to pretend the whole thing doesn't exist anymore. You know, very, very, very true to form, you could say.
違う。俺が好きなのは豪快な骨。
違う。お前が好きなのは色とりどりのクリームで優しく可愛らしく盛り付けられたデザートなのだ。まるでフリルやリボンで飾り付けられた無垢な汚れを知らぬ少女を連想させる、そんな透き通った少女のような可愛いデザートを。
It's not that this type of tormenting couldn't work today, but it feels really different than it did when it was written.
ニキビだらけの欲望丸出しのスポーツ狩りが怪我するようにバリバリとむしゃむしゃと。
Acne laden face and sports cut. Dang. At the very least, we're gonna break his soul.
そうだ、お前はデザートを食べてめでているんじゃない。怪我し
You just dirty them.
蹂躙し
Oh my gosh.
しゃぶり尽くしているだけ。お前はデザートを怪我して楽しんでいるだけなんだ。
Again, it's making some very clear parallels to very terrible things that people actually do, right? Ugh. That's horrible. It really, I was kind of joking when I was making that like the pervert island Epstein joke there a second ago, but I might have actually nailed what they were going for here, and that's kind of crazy.
ダメだ、知られてしまった俺の密かな楽しみがもう生きていけない。
And it's like, and we have all those reporters out there. I could tell them all. I could tell them every detail. And that's all they would need. Or you could let us win.
死ぬしか死ぬしか。
バカ野郎、命を粗末にするな。
Kerslam! I hit him on the side of his head as hard as I could. Kamada-kun fell down like a girl. Again, why? Oh, but I guess the whole point is to emasculate him. His eyes started watering and he broke down.
こんな変なことを考えてデザートを食べているのはきっと俺は爽やかなスポーツマンのふりをした隠れスケベなんだ。
Join the club. Apparently, you're in good company. Like, because that's just all we keep finding out.
そうだ、お前はスケベだ。
We're just utterly breaking this poor man. He's not even a man though, he's like a kid. Whooshy. This time I didn't hit him. Instead, I clapped my hand down onto his shoulders.
わめくな亀だ。男がスケベで何が悪い。
Dun dun.
男はすべからくスケベだ。だがそれを認めるか否かで男の器は天と地の差を持つのだ。お前は自分に素直だった。それを自慢していい。威張っていい。
Okay.
自分を誇りに思え。
Instead of blaming him, I told him to have pride in himself, and Kamada-kun couldn't hide his confusion.
そうだ。そして俺はお前に感銘を受けたのだ。デザートはただ単に食後に食べる甘いもの。今お前がそれを教えてくれたんだ。お前に出会ったおかげで俺は明日から同じデザートを一味も二味も違った味わい方ができるようになるだろう。例えばいちごのショートケーキ。
Strawberry shortcake. Gulp. Kamada's throat cried out.
いちごのショートケーキの地味さはそうだ、どこか古風なロックメーカー華やかなりし
So
頃
we're
の
back here.
正統派のメイドを思わせる。
It's obviously a reused asset for Angel Mort, which makes sense, but it's also kind of funny too because he absolutely is probably one of those super clients that they have.
スカートが短いこびた近代メイドじゃないぞ。正統派の清掃の本格派。いちごしかありません。こんなものしかご用意できませんが、どうかご賞味くださいませ。そういうつつましやかさがいいよな。
Yeah.
ご賞味くださいませ。燃える。
All right, so you're losing me, Keiichi. I thought the plan was to break the poor man and use it as like leverage, but now I feel like you're trying to make him confess his like secret to the press. Okay.
燃え。
いちごしかないからこそ柔らかく主張したクリームのデコレーションはさしずめ、フリルやレース、刺繍飾りのようなものだよな。それを上品な貴族のご主人様のようにフォークで切り分け、いやいや、それを下劣に油汗を浮かせた悪のご主人様のようにしゃぶりつくところがワイルドなのか。
This is the most wild stuff to come back to after taking a break. It's like, what is happening?
いや、それよりいちごを取った後の くぼみの方がいけてるよな。そこに舌を這わせたら。
What are you even talking about?
それってどんな味なんだよ。
Why are we being perverted about strawberries? What world have I entered?
イチゴを取った後のくぼみ。
I really don't know what to think here at this point. It's like super virginity, right? Like, this is like the kind of stuff people who have never had any actual experience with intimacy daydream about. Like, it remotely could potentially possibly be something similar to an actual like intimate relation or encounter with somebody, and thus it's the most like sensual thing they could ever conceive of. Like, convincing yourself that like something is so like can be sexualized because why?
俺もう辛抱できないや。帰りはエンジェルモートでショートケーキを開けるまで見つめて。
And we're like implying that like you got guys who are like getting off to looking at cake, and not the kind of cake you could be thinking about.
俺のためだけに美しく着飾った少女たちよ。
I also do think it's funny in this universe. Apparently, like Keiichi is fully aware of Angel Mort.
身を寄せ合って震える少女たち。
Oh, he's going full pervert mode now. the line delivery is so good.
一つ食べるごとに次はどの子にしようかと顎をこうふいと持って品定めして。
Please translate girl says cake, alright? So, yeah, like, he's saying, like, oh, okay, so, like, the cake dressed up beautifully just for me. Weird. Keiichi seems to be talking about cake combined platters, emphasis mine. So this is the translator note, or, like, saying, I'm pretty sure he's talking about the cakes at this point, but I'm not 100% sure. It's just both.
めでるように顎をこうふいと持って。
Has there ever been a man such as this who could speak so passionately about a single piece of strawberry shortcake? No, there has not. There's never been, I say. Such passionate feelings are trying to melt away the stubbornness in Kamada's mind. Kamada's mind.
もう一度だけ言う。俺たちを語っ。ならもういい。お前には頼まん。
I reject Kamada outright and turned on my heel.
もういいや。この試合は負けだ負け。もうこんな試合と。そんなことより試合が終わったらエンジェルモートに行ってフリルとリボンで西洋人形のように飾られた美少女たち食い放題で行こうかな。
What is that laugh?
今夜は豪快に徹底的に食い散らかしじゃい。
食い放題。
Thud. Despite this being a bathroom, Kamada-kun put both his hands on the floor.
俺が間違ってました。どうした亀田君。言いたいことがあるならはっきりと言え。
こんなあなたみたいな人に出会ったのは
Oh my
初め
gosh.
てです。俺は今まで自分はどこか変じゃないかとずっと思って隠れて楽しんできたのに。
I'm pretty sure there's something wrong with you, but like, as long as you're not hurting people, it's probably okay.
何を躊躇するか矮小が。さっき言ったはずだ。認めるか否かが男の分岐路なのだ。貴様は胸を張れるべき男。さあ手を差し出せ。自らの偉大さを示してみろ。俺と一緒に俺たちの世界を認めるんだ。
Clap. Kamada-kun was crying tears of gratitude, unable to speak. This is the moment we exchanged the most zealous handshake the world has ever known. The handshake of a bond of our souls, ardent and intense, tightly and steadfast. For a long time we remained that way. It was an enthusiastic handshake, as though we were two brothers separated at birth, embracing each other tightly, as though it would give us back the time we had spent apart. That was the moment a man who had passed into legend for eating so much during Anjo Mort all-you-can-eat dessert day that he was banned from the restaurant forevermore was born. So, we've unleashed a monster on Angel Mort. He would eventually write in his autobiography that our meeting this day was fate. But none of that had anything to do with this.
じゃあ後でな。とりあえず試合は今話した通りの手はずで頼むぜ。
With just that, I turned on my heel and made to leave the bathroom. But then Kamada-kun stopped me.
待ってくれ。せめてあんたの名前を聞かせてくれ。
俺か？俺の名は前原圭一。いや。
I kind of didn't feel like using my real name. Anyway, maybe I should lie to him using a code name.
俺のことはケイと呼べ。
ケイ。
Wait, was that actually an embarrassing name? I left the bathroom behind me at a quick pace, hiding my embarrassment. But from what I'd heard later, I apparently looked quite gallant coming out like that.
さとこより圭一さんへ。守備はどうでございましたの？
圭一よりさとこへ。交渉は成功。エンジェルモートで俺と奴のデザート食い放題で妥結した。ミオ、問題ないな。
エンジェルモートにデザート食べ放題で2席ね。了解。
Yep, of course you can.
手配しとくよ。
どういう風に交渉したのか、実に気がかりなのです。
No, you don't.
きっとデザートの美味しい話で盛り上がったに違いないかな。
Yeah, that's more or less how it went. After that, the game started again. I entered the batter's box at a pinch hitter in place of Mion. But all the pieces were already in place. Boom. The straight pitch whipped by me like a bullet, true to its name. The camera people raised their voices in wonder and clicked their shutters. A sharp pitch as always. He's really going places this summer, isn't he? That golf club pitch hitter is standing straight too, hee. But doesn't Kamada-kun look a little strange? It's like he's gone a cold sweat. I patted my shoulders with the bat and sneered at him in a relaxed voice.
どうした亀田君？今日は不調かな？
There he is.
この程度の球じゃ笑っちゃってバットを振る気にもならないぜ。
おのれ。
Vroom. The next pitch was the same incredible speed as before. It curved sharply and could have thrown off a batter's skill. But Keiichi didn't move at all. He just watched coolly.
直球投手に小細工は不要だよ、亀田君。こんなカーブに引っかかってくれるのかい？この辺りのバッターは。
Both the reporters and all the people watching noticed something was strange here. Was Oshima Kamada's pitcher who conquered Koshien losing the mental battle? The next straight pitch had incredible speed again, but it was a little wide. It was a ball. I snorted, not even bothering to get ready for it.
どうした亀田君？そんなにど真ん中が怖いのかい？まさか天下の亀田君がフォアボールなんてことはないだろうな。
くそー。
Murmur. The abnormal and unexpected situation spread confusion throughout the reporters.
何者だよ、あの前原圭一って男は。あの剛速球を前にしてここまでの余裕とは。
叶わないと見て空威張りをしてるだけさ。あんな不真面目そうな男にあの亀田が打たれるはずはない。
いや、私ははったりとは思えないな。超一流は同じく超一流を見抜くという。あの亀田は紛れもなく超一流。ならばこそあの謎の男の進化を見抜けるのだ。
And attributing a lot to him. Real business person looking guy took off his sunglasses and gazed upon Keiichi.
まさか本当に？
The idiot pitch hitter who came in cheering them with the golf club was actually a genius?
きっと本人はもう野球に魅力を失い、
ゴルフへの転向を希望しているのだろう。
Oh, okay, so now they think he is a genius and he's just bored with baseball.
天才スラッガー、ゴルフ界へ移籍か。
What a tremendous loss for baseball. Stop the presses. We're changing up our sports columns. Room.
ボール、これでフルカウントだぞ。
The excessive production was, of course, after all being dramatized by Satako. The big shots constantly had their eyes on Kamada-kun. If he were to lose easily, then this match would have had to be fixed. Perhaps she wanted this little play of ours to create a mood where it wouldn't be strange for Kamada-kun to lose, but...
サトコ、これどう見てもやりすぎだぞ。
頑張れてございましたよ、ケイチさん。明日の休会はいただきですわ。
Today the game, tomorrow all baseball. I don't want any scouts actually coming after me. I'm terrified of what would happen when the jig is up. Wait, I can't be making nervous faces right now.
ボール、フォアボール。臆したか亀田君、見損なったぞ。
Kamada-kun hung his head in feigned dejection.
ケイさん、これでバッチリ筋書き通りですよね。
ああ、でかしたぞ亀田君。この調子で次のバッターも頼むぞ。こんな試合とっとと終わらせて。
早く食べ放題に行きましょうよ。
Grin. Kamada-kun and I exchange evil smiles. For some reason, there's a lot of camera flashes right then. It seemed like our dear journalist friends took as two worthy rivals smiling to acknowledge each other's strength. As I tried over to first base, the camera flashes continued almost to the point where where they were annoying. When I got to first base, one of the reporters came over for an interview.
前原君、この亀田君との決着は甲子園でつけるつもりですか？
Things seemed like they were about to get too big for me. Maybe I should just be honest and confess that I'm not really into baseball.
甲子園？俺は日本球界なんて初めから興味ないんだ。悪いな。
Whoa! The man, right from the start, he was always aiming for the world. He might become Japan's first ever big leaguer. What? The conversation was getting fantastically out of hand. Oh, I don't care anymore. I'll strike the guts pose for the camera in desperation.
よっしゃ、作戦通りケイちゃんが出塁したね。
次は、さとこちゃんの打順だね。どうするんだろう。どうするんだろう。さあ。
Oh, don't mess this up, Satako.
でっかいホームランでさよなら勝ちですわよ。
Satako stepped up to the plate, waving the bat around. The reporters couldn't hold back their laughter, maybe because they'd just seen his battle with me. Maibara-kun finally got to a base, but now it's all over. I see, so this is why Kamada-kun intentionally walked him. He didn't even fight it, he was waiting for an easier opponent for the final out. But to avoid a direct confrontation like that, cannot make light of him. That Keiichi Maibara.
さあ、亀田さん、いら
Oh,
っしゃいま
I
せ。
feel bad. I'm like nervous that it's all gonna fall apart here, and Satoko's gonna feel like she's gonna take it really personally.
バカにするな。俺を誰だと思っているんだ？ケイさん。いや、前原さんならともかく、お前ごときに遅れなど取るものか。
Whenever this girl stepped on the bat, she'd swing wildly and miss, striking out every time. This might sound rude, but however much Kamada-kun holds back, I don't think she'll be able to hit a home run. I could hear the reporters declaring that there was no way a comeback would happen. Wait, what? Satako, she swung wildly and missed every single time she stepped up to the bat. Vroom! She swung after the sound had ended, completely mistiming it. I could hear disappointed voices coming from those rooting from Hinamizawa. The only natural. Every single bat had struck out. Even if it worst came to worst, no one would get a hit. And that's why it didn't sound strange when Kamada-kun said this.
お前ごときに本気で投げても仕方がないな。チャンスだ。次の一球は下投げでのんびり投げてやる。一発くらいヒットを打ってお母ちゃんに自慢できる種にさせてやる。
Of course, these lines were all part of the ploy too. From out of the corner of his eye, Kamada-kun gives me a look. Was that alright?
ああ、いい感じだぞ。実にさりげない。亀田、 お主も演技派よの。
But how is it going to be a home run? Because the downside is that without the energy of a fast pitch, you probably can't get it far enough.
いえいえ、計算ほどではとてもとても。でへへへへ。
Even that exchange was seen as heated and enthusiastic by reporters.
でも計算、いくら手を抜いて投げても、この子本当に打てるんですかね。
いいからお前は決められた通りに投げろ。俺にはなんとなく分かってる。
Our exchange over, Kamada-kun moved from set position to his pitching stance. Oh. That's a picture right there.
手加減の球を投げなさいな。大ホームランにして差し上げますわ。
She had struck out every time she was at bat. When I heard that, my vague idea became from firm beliefs. And out of Kamada-kun's hand came a slow, lazy pitch, as though they were playing catch. Normal people would probably have been able to hit it, but for Satako, who had been striking out the whole time. Just when people started to think that way, the members of our club had already realized that Satako's trap had begun. It was true. Striking out constantly today had all been laying the groundwork for this moment. An act. All to make it feel like Kamada-kun let off the gas wasn't strange at all. Which meant, in other words, that Satako... Crack! Oh, look at that! Whoa! She got it! Look at it go!
走る必要もありませんわね。
The super huge home run Satako hit disappeared over the roof of the school. The reporters lost their words at the sight. And then, roars of applause. Despite this being what we'd anticipated, I can't help but stare in a mute amazement at the gorgeous home run. Satako strut over the first base.
ほらほら、何をしてますの、ケイイチさん。二塁は向こうでございますのよ。
サトコ、お前野球得意なんだろ。
Satako grinned, showing her fang-like canines in reply. Come to think of it, she played baseball a lot with Tomita-kun and the others during lunch, didn't she? The fact that they always invited her to play meant that she was by no means bad at it.
それを全て大振りの凡退だ。しかも亀田君が登場する前からだろ。たくつくづく最後の最後に何か仕掛けるやつだな。
いつも言ってましたよ。罠は一つ。それも最後の最後で本当にさりげないくらいで十分なんでしたよ。
I only have one trap, and the trap is always you underestimate her. Dang it, that sounds kind of cool. Basically, she was just bragging about hitting the ball. But when Satako did it, it looked so cool. We crossed home plate in order, me, then Satako, and completed our walk-off home run. Our teammates welcomed us back with their blessings. Maibara-san, that was amazing, totally cool. I never thought it would happen. Tomita-kun and Okumura-kun praised me.
どうだ見たかよ、富田君、岡村君。見事ひっくり返してやったぜ。
レナもかっこよかったと思うよ。お疲れ様。
なんのこんなの軽い仕事だぜ。
I briskly clapped hands against Rena's outstretched palm.
サトコもあっぱれ。最後は豪快に決めてくれたね。
私を誰だとお思いですの？
Man, can't underestimate her. Satako Hyojo.
ケイちゃんも見事だったよ。よくあの亀田を口説き落とせたね。
口先の魔術師なのです。
Magician of words.
リカちゃん、それ褒め言葉じゃないと思うな。
しかし本当にケイイチさんでなくてはできない荒技ですわね。
That's true. He does speak pervert pretty good.
私にはとても真似できませんわ。ぜひ今度私にもご教授いただきたいですわね。
I don't know about that.
あんな荒技をサトコがこなしたら想像するのも恐ろしい。くれぐれも真似はしないでくれよな。
After declaring the match over, the umpire came to us.
いや、まさか本当に勝てるとは驚きましたよ。
サトコなら打てるって言ったでしょ。全然信じてくれないんだからな。
The umpire scratched his head apologetically, then apologized to Satako, smiling dryly.
それにケイイチ君だってすごかったでしょ。 ケイチくんってここ一番で本当に頼りになる人なんですよ。
Okay, Red, that's a bit of praise. Like, I don't know if he's actually the most reliable.
いやー、ゴルフクラブで乱入してきた時は本当に大丈夫かと思いましたけど、あの亀田くんとの行き詰まる攻防は手に汗を握りましたよ。
Right, that breathtaking farce. I quirked a wry smile. Not even a Buddha would have realized what everyone thought this was a fair match. Kamada-kun and I were thinking about our evil, dessert-violating ways. Jeez.
さて監督、約束ちゃんと覚えてるよね。
これは仕方がありませんね。
So what was that?
やったねやったね。ケイチくん、これで明日はバーベキュー大会だよ。
Oh, nice. Rena clapped her hands and we all began to dance with joy. Tomita-kun and the other teammates were jumping up and down too.
なんだバーベキュー大会？おいおい、一体どういう話になってるんだ？
今日の試合に勝てたら高級お肉いっぱいのバーベキュー大会を振る舞ってくださるって約束になってましたの。
Nice.
亀田さんの登場で一時は危うかったですが、ケイチさんの活躍で見事獲得できましたのよ。
I see. So that's what this was about. It was certainly not a game we could have lost.
入江は大散財でかわいそなのです。
Oh no.
参ったな。でも約束ですからね。
What were they promising in return if they'd won though?
私たちは食うときは情け容赦なく食うからね。何しろ育ち盛りだし。はっいいかいみんな、明日は徹底的に食いまくるよ。
All the members of the Hinamizawa fighters raised their fists high in the air and cheered. Rika-chan was petting the head of the umpire, who was smiling painfully at the off-kilter remarks. He gave her his head and it looked like he was about to cry. It looked like the price of victory would be pretty big.
参ったな。でも仕方ないね。約束ですから。お肉とかを買いにお買い物に行かないとな。
監督、約束通り牛肉は高級なのお願いね。
Oh Jesus, might bankrupt him.
野菜ばっかり買って安上がりにしたら許さないからね。
The umpire, whom they were calling Coach, grinned dryly crestfallen. Umpire? Coach? The young uniform he was wearing had Hinamizawa Fighters written on it. Oh, if he's not just the umpire, he was actually our team's coach.
前原くんでよかったですか、お名前。
はい。
前原くんの出塁がなければありえない逆転でした。ぜひ明日のバーベキューにはいらしてください。いやいや、それよりもぜひうちのチームに入りませんか。あなたとなら喧嘩を制覇できるかも。
監督、まあその話は置いといて。
Thanks, Rena. This would have been an awkward conversation. Especially all the reporters
今
around.
はお財布の心配だけをなさいませ。
Despite the coach being an adult, everyone seemed to get along very well with him. Coach, huh?
よろしくお願いしますね。ひなみざわファイターズ監督の入江ですよ。
He extended his hand to me. I firmly grasped it with my own reply.
前原です。よろしく。
Then the coach took his other hand and began to stroke mine softly. What?
すべすべなお手手ですね。きめも細かいし、お手入れも実にいい感じです。
What?
はあ、さわさわ。
Okay.
はちょっと。
当家のメイドたちにもこれくらいの肌のお手入れはするよう厳命しなくてはいけないですね。
What?
お手入れの悪いメイドたちにはお仕置き。
We're just surrounded by perverts.
メイド？何の話をしているんですか？
はあ、こんなすべすべな手でご奉仕。
Are you like Rena's cousin or something? The coach's eyes were spellbound as his delusion floated through his very own original magical universe. He made a supremely satisfied smile. How did I put this? Who the heck is this guy?
なの。
Oh, yeah, no wonder.
でもとっても面白い人なんだよ。
I felt like I could measure him by saying strange or funny. I really didn't think we'd get along. Snap! The other self in my mind was made a witty retort for some reason.
ほら、いい加減になさいませ。ケイジさんも嫌がっておりましたよ。
はあ、すべすべ。
The coach didn't try to take his hands off mine until Satako hit him with a threefold wash bucket attack, causing him to faint. Oh, that was weird. Weird is the word of the day. What a bizarre adventure that was. Well, alright then. Let's see, this is the end of the chapter. We'll read those tips, otherwise we're stopping here. Alright, that was the end of the chapter, so we'll do the tip. Even though it's going to be a long episode. Well, that was interesting. Okay, so for the tip, Satoko's trap course advanced. And it has the coach in it. It was a peaceful lunch break. Thud, clatter, splash.
なんだ？
今廊下からすごいのが聞こえた。なんだろう。
Oh, I clicked early, hang on. What was it? She just repeated it, okay. We rushed into the hallway, and to our surprise, Coach was there with a water bucket overturned on his head.
監督、大丈夫？
いやー、やられましたね。皆さん、こんにちは。
Coach greeted us cool and calm.
どうしたんですか、監督。学校に来るなんて珍しい。
いやー、お仕事の絡みでして。私、毎週学校には来てるんですよ。ここしばらくは何事もなかったので、すっかり油断してました。
さとこちゃんの罠は忘れた頃に来ますからね。大丈夫ですか、服。
いえいえ、ちょうど行水がしたいと思ってたところですからね。実に涼しくていいですよ。
Well, that's very kind of him to take it that way.
さすが監督。ちょっとやそっとのことでは怒らない。その辺が大人って感じだよね。
She was right. If I were Coach, I would have started running around with a bucket still on my head looking for her. His adult way of not getting mad at every little child's prank was admirable.
いいですか、前原さん。こういうのは考え方一つで腹立たしくも愉快にもなるんです。
He's hitting on the good stuff. I've always said this is probably, if there's a catchphrase I have, it's that perspective is everything. Change your perspective. Often you can get a good idea of like the motivations. Like when someone does something that's annoying to you, if you can just give yourself the space to try and be a little unbiased and put yourself in their shoes, 90% of the time you'll find out there's probably a decent reason for it. In fact, when people cut me off in like when I'm driving, it's really instinctual to just get mad at it, right? But 90% of the time, they're probably not actually trying to cut you off. They probably just couldn't see you there, or there's something in the road that they desperately need to avoid, or they're trying to like get into a certain lane so they can maybe, leave traffic flow. There's so many reasons why someone would cut you off that has nothing to do with them just trying to be mean to you. It's usually just kind of, you just happen to be at the wrong place at the wrong time. 90% of the time, I don't think people intentionally try and cause harm and annoyance to each other. It just kind of happens. If you can just take that perspective, it makes it so that a lot of things that normally would be very aggravating don't really have the same teeth that it would have otherwise.
要は受け止め方一つなんですよ。
Yeah, it's all about how you react to it. Also, if people are trying to bug you and annoy you, your reaction is usually the reason they're doing so. So if you give them a reaction that they don't find very fun, they usually will leave you alone.
水バケツを丸ごと食らってそれだけクールにいられる秘訣があるならぜひご教授を願いたいです。
Of course, his perspective might also be, I know exactly how to get back at her, so I don't need to rush or worry.
例えば、明治から続く古式ゆかしい旧家があるとします。
Oh wow, how specific.
そこには大勢の使用人としてメイドさんが雇われているとします。
Alright, uh-oh.
もちろん大きな家ですから、ベテランのおつぼね様と化したメイド長から、新米のピチピチしたメイドさんまでがたくさんいるのです。
So we have a teacher who's obsessed with curry, and we have...
想像できますか？ほら。
So we have a maid who's obsessed with curry, and we have a coach that's obsessed with maids.
ほら。
A space filled with dreamy maids in pink and peach adorned with frills and headbands, with Coach at their center, began to spread out before me.
新米メイドたちはそのピチピチさと初々しさでご主人様の寵愛を一身に。でもそれが先輩メイドたちには許せないのです。ことあるごとに難癖をつけ、いじめていじめていじめ抜いて。
Oh boy.
ほら、まだこんなに埃が残っていますよ。ああ、すみません。もう一度やり直し。
Who is this guy?
バシャー。バケツを逆さにぶっかけられるメイドさん。びしょ濡れのメイドさんが泣きそうになりながらそれでもけなげに、はぁ、はぁ。
Calm down.
メイド。
We need another bucket of cold water for this dude, please. No, you got her doing it too.
しないけど楽しそう。レナもメイドさんいいな。
ああ、もうレナまで感化されてきた。
Thank you, Mion.
ほらケイちゃんもいつまでも監督の世界に浸っていない。
これさえなければ監督も決して悪い人じゃありませんのに。
If he weren't flawed, he'd be great.
北条聡子さん発見。聡子さん、これは何ざます？まだ埃が残ってるざますよ。
Uh-oh.
お仕置きざます
Coach plucked Satako up and started giving her a spanking. What?
さとこちゃんかいい。
You can't spank other people's children like that?
天才的な読みでトラップを操るサトコがどうしてこの顛末までは読めないのか実に不思議だぞ。
そうかな。これはさとこちゃんの望んだ結末だと思うな。
Okay.
この結末をサトコが望んだ？それはどういう意味だよ。
人にこういういたずらをしたら絶対に相手は怒って追いかけてくるよね。
I see.
そういうのもコミュニケーションだと思わない？
So part of the fun of the traps is like maybe getting caught, but it's because it lets her play.
そんなコミュニケーションすごく嫌だぞ。普通に挨拶から入ってこんにちはってことにはならんのか。
あれ？ケイチくん聞いたことない？いたずらばかりしてる人ってね、人に構ってもらいたくて仕方がない寂しがり屋さんなんだって。
The same with bullies too. A lot of times the people who are bullying others are just looking for attention. I feel like they have very little or limited control, and so they exert control where they feel safe. Unfortunately, on other people. Rena gave a cool smile, laughed abruptly, and explained.
だからさとこちゃんの罠にかかったらちゃんと怒ったり笑ったりしてさとこちゃんを追いかけてほしいの。そういう猫の甘え髪みたいなの可愛いと思わないかな。
I don't know about that, but I get it.
きっとここで驚いて飛びのきますわ。だからここに仕掛ければ絶対にかかりますの。
Satako, regaling us with their trap philosophy, was improving the already brutal trap hell on the mountain. If Rena were right, and her traps to get people to pay attention to her, then all these traps on the mountain were basically a crystallized form of those feelings. Alone with Rika-chan, setting up trap after trap after trap in the mountains, always waiting for someone to fall into them. But nobody needed to come to the mountain in the first place. Without a doubt, she and Rika-chan spent a lot of time imagining how victims caught in their traps would react. Satako, separated for so long from her beloved Nini, Satoshi. With her stubbornness, she never once said that she wanted him to come home. But all the traps sleeping on the mountain told me how Satako really felt.
聞いてますのケイチさん。
あ、ごめん。なんだって？
このように木の幹に釘を一本打ち付けただけでも立派なトラップになるんですのよ。ちょうどあそこで転げてここに額を打ち付ければ痛いですわよ。
Somehow they have actually made the trap making an endearing part of her character. And I'm kind of impressed. I thought it was kind of just her being annoying. But no, they're actually building it into like, hey, what if there's a reason behind it? And what if that reason's actually really wholesome and sweet? It's like, it makes it kind of sad, but it's also like, it makes me want to fall for her traps. Like, it makes me want to be a part of that conversation instead of just, you know, having it happen to me occasionally. Like, it would make me feel like, all right, maybe I don't get as I like it's like you kind of keep playing the game, but with that better perspective, it could be more of a fun, like I said, like a game rather than an annoyance.
釘の頭に人間トンカチってわけか。それは痛そうだな。
このトラップはきっと悪い悪人を懲らしめる強力なトラップになりますわよ。
That's
ど
terrifying.
んな悪党がかかるか楽しみでございますわ
If
ね。
you're making actual lethal traps, like the big thing about that is like making sure that the right people are getting caught in them.
そこでなんで俺をチラチラ見るんだよ。俺にこれに引っかかってほしいと思ってんの。さすがにこれは大怪我するぞ。このトラップはちょっとやめとけ。
そうですの？まあ確かに愛がないトラップはダメでございますからね。ではその悪党もちゃんと改心したらかからないように少し釘の位置を。
Okay. Satako immerse herself in adjusting the nail's position. Traps of love, huh? Maybe Coach was right. Just by reacting a little differently, everything changes. Come to think of it, maybe you can feel humor and warmth even when Satako traps you.
できましたよ。この絶妙な位置でしたら完璧ですわ。いかがです、ケイチさん？
あ、完璧だな。このトラップに引っかかる悪党が現れるといいな。
現れない方がいいに決まってますわ。
It looked like a little painful, but considering coming here with some time and getting caught in it. It's like oddly sweet and kind of scary, though. Yeah, no. Weird. That was fun. Okay, so long episode, but we got to the end of the chapter. That's a pretty good set for me, so I'm pretty happy with that. Thank you so much for being here today. God, it's weird. Like, recording, it's like it became so natural, so common for me, but now I'm taking a break from it. Coming back to it's a little odd. Hopefully it doesn't change or feel too different. It feels different from my end, so I imagine it's a little different on your end, but ideally not too bad. It's mostly just me kind of breaking back into like, I got so used to like, I think a lot of it has to do with changing my sleep schedule, because I got so used to like a normal sleep schedule again. It was like, I was really enjoying it, and sleeping at night is so nice. It's weird to say that, but it really is. And now I'm going back to the old schedule, and I'm also trying to get back into the swing of things recording, and it's just, it's odd. We'll have to see. I'm also going to somehow have to figure out how to do time, because I feel like it took forever for me to edit the Baldur's Gate video, the latest Baldur's Gate video, and now I got to record the next section, which who knows how many parts of Act 3 is going to be, because my goodness, is it a dense piece of work, but I'll keep at it, and then we can try and do another thing on Tuesdays, but I almost wonder if I'll be able to, because I feel like it's almost overwhelming doing what I've been doing so far. So I imagine Thursdays are just never going to be a consistent series. Tuesdays. Because my Tuesdays, I just feel like I barely have time to record 4 videos a week instead of 5, but I want to try and maintain a 5 video schedule at least someday. I guess it just depends though, because if I have to do heavy editing, obviously it takes so much more time to do that. So like that's why there's such a big gap between the Baldur's Gate 3 videos. Hopefully I'll be able to wrap that up though, because I've been having a lot of fun with it, but it's time to move on to something else, I think. I want to finish it though. I want to get to the ending, whatever ending Barney like has in store for us. So if you haven't checked out the Baldur's Gate 3 playthrough, which by the way, like if it's new to you, the whole idea behind it is I'm playing an entire campaign where I randomize all my choices. So anytime the dialogue box pops up, I roll a die to determine what we answer. I've done re-rolls of all the character classes. So every time we get a new companion, like their random class, and it's been pretty fun. I actually got to the point where in Act 1, so the first part of the game, I only had one companion. I either abandoned or flat out murdered everybody else. So I only had the one companion for a while. We finally got a few others, but it's just kind of crazy how it all played out and how it's gone so far. It's been really, really fun. So please check that series out if you haven't. Just because it's so different from what I've done before. Well, I guess it's not too different though. I enjoy challenge runs in general. So it's been a really fun thing to do. But yeah, I guess if not that, there's plenty of other good stuff to watch on the channel, so hopefully you enjoy that. But we should be back on track. This week should be right on normal schedule again, everything being posted as you expect. So thanks for your patience. I'm looking forward to continuing for the rest of the year, assuming I don't go on any other big trips. I mean, I will eventually, but that's only because I now have the means to. So, we'll see. But regardless of that, thank you so much. And until the next video, you're watching me, or see me in next. I'll see you there.